So when I came to Hawaii about 20 years ago at Halloween, it will be exactly 20 years ago. Um, First, I lived in a black van, Astro, Chevy Astro. And by that time, one woman compared me, or she told me about somebody who was called, and who called herself Peace Pilgrim. And she compared me to that woman, and she said, I remind her of that woman. And I have to admit that I have not voluntarily decided to become, in Germany we would say, as poor as a church mouse. It was just the consequences of what I have been doing and what I have been believing in and what I have, the path that I have followed. Very early in life, I traveled. I traveled to India when I was only 17, and I got a special permission to do that as a minor from my parents. And there in India, I learned how to travel without money and without shoes, because by that time the all the Western girls, they were considered prostitutes. Every woman in India that was traveling by herself alone, not chaperoned either by her father, her husband, or her brother or son, was considered a prostitute. And the only way of not being harassed for me was, as a young blonde, to dress up and to behave like a nun. And in India, the nuns and monks that are not associated with a particular ashram, a particular monastery, but they're kind of like living like homeless people, they are called sadhus. And so I learned from an Indian woman who had been a teacher, and that's why she spoke good English. And she was friendly with me. She helped me also when I was very ill. And she introduced me to this lifestyle, and I took it very seriously to become a nun. And I had incredible spiritual experiences at that time. And then when I came to Hawaii, and all of a sudden I had really nothing to lean on. I had for the first time permanently, I have no health insurance. I have to take care of myself, and also I most of the time I didn't even have the money to buy the kind of things that I would like to support my body with. And so these 20 years I have stayed here in Hawaii was an incredible schooling. And that's exactly what I wanted. I remember when I first came and I was at Kealakekua Bay, not very far from the place where Captain Cook landed and then later got killed. And there is a temple, it's called Heiau. And some people have desecrated that temple once, and a lot of very ugly accidents have happened there. So no, nobody is allowed to go there. And there were two Hawaiian ladies, and the elder one, I asked her, "Can I stay in Hawaii?" And she said yes. And she showed me a particular place where I could go swimming, because that coast is quite rocky, and there are not many places where you can just walk into the water like that. Places for kayaking and so, but not swimming directly. So she showed me that, and I had this deja vu experience that once upon a time, this place in Hawaii was a school. It was a spiritual school where young priests were educated to become who they would be. And that was not like a theological studies like we know in Germany, where you basically have to learn all about the dogmas, what you're supposed to believe and what you're not supposed to believe. But it is very much about your own experience and what you make of it. And this idea of a pilgrimage journey has never left me. Although then I have lived for a long time, I think about more than 12 years at the same subdivision, and I would do the same routes every day or every other day, like twice a week, travel from Fernacres down to Hilo and sell my goods there or not, and then later go to the library twice, 3 times a week, and you could really you could fix your clock according to how regular I used to travel from one place to the other, and it was an endless repetition. But of course, everything evolves. Everything changes, and although sometimes it may be so boring, and again you have to do it, and suddenly a new chapter starts.